Yo, Judge Slam's stepdad in the shocking abuse case. That's what we're going to be reacting to today, guys. Let's see. You guys can't see it. Too bad. Alright, it was posted 21 minutes ago. So, let's get into it. Bro, my lightning is mad ass. Hold on, let me plug on my headphones. I didn't have everything straight, but I had something straight. Hold on. And I know you see me watching. And I know you see me watching now. Alright. Lock in, bro. This shouldn't be my first reaction. I don't know.
I saw the pictures. I saw what you did to that child. What is wrong with you?
Nigga, what
How
pictures?
can you do that?
A Detroit man will spend the next several decades in prison after he beat his young stepson to death. Jamar Hill entered a guilty plea confessing to murdering the 8-year-old, but at sentencing, the judge blasted Hill for what he saw as, quote, fake remorse.
First of all, as a judge, why the fuck are you slamming somebody? Who are you to slam me? Wish I would get a judge to slam me. Where the police officer at? This man cuffed up. He free. That judge should be in jail.
This comes as many have cried foul over the sentence Hill ended up getting. We will discuss it all with criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Josh Corman. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Nigga, oh, hold on.
Sidebar.
Chop shit. Chop shit. What is wrong with this nigga? This must be the son.
Presented by Law and
This must be the son he abused. Cause this nigga look like him. Shit, I will be mad too. Look at her. Look at her. Look at them, bro. They all got a gap.
Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
You see me watching.
According to Wayne County, Michigan prosecutors, 8-year-old Adrian Timms Jr. stood little chance of surviving past
I
child.
wouldn't abuse the kid, but I'd be mad because, like, I don't know. Why would I be mad? I don't know.
And that's thanks to the treatment that he received at the hands of his own mother and her partner. The boy's grandmother said the malnourished and mistreated child weighed just 33 pounds.
That shit right there. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I'm about to zoom in for y'all. I'm about to zoom in for y'all. Can y'all see? I want to be, when I grow up, I want to be police. Not police officer, police. Water, water. Green, food, spaghetti. Teacher, I don't know.
When he died in November.
Oh, he a junior.
Weighed just 33
Well,
pounds.
that's
when he
messed
died
up.
in November of 2024. Just imagine that. A growing 8-year-old child weighing just 33 pounds. We go back to November 8th at around 12:30 in the morning. Medics responded to a home on Claremont Avenue in Detroit to try to save Adrian, whose wounds would end up becoming fatal. He was pronounced dead at a local hospital.
He getting that pay though.
With the medical exam,
He getting that pay though.
Cause of death to be multiple blunt force trauma injuries to the head. Now, Adrian's mother,
And I'm gonna pay the
32-year-old Kentoria Moss, and his stepfather, 37-year-old Jamar Hill, were charged with killing him. This was on November 12th. Hill was denied release altogether, but Moss was actually granted a bond in January, although the
What?
exact
Hold on.
denied release for Hill.
Nigga, we need captions.
Forced trauma injuries to the head. Now, Adrian's mother, 32-year-old Kentoria Moss, and his stepfather, 37-year-old Jamar Hill, were charged with killing him. This was on November 12th. Hill was denied release altogether, but Moss was actually granted a bond in January, although the exact amount that she posted to guarantee her return to court is kind of unclear at this point. But what we do know is that prosecutor Kim Worthy
Boy.
had this to say about what happened inside that home in November. The alleged facts in this case are chilling. The defendants in this case worked in tandem to beat and eventually kill this poor child, two adults against an 8-year-old. Little Adrian had zero chance of surviving.
That is messed up. And why am I getting ads? They giving me more to edit. Shit is trash.
Now, to talk about this horrific story, to talk about Hill's plea deal, which you may say is quite controversial, Moss's continuing case, I want to bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Josh Corman. Josh, thanks so much for coming on Sidebar. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You've seen a lot of cases from both the prosecution, the defense side. How?
So guys, when they talk about it and they go to the thing, it's called B story. So B story is basically when they're talking, they go to the picture of the little boy and then they put little cuts of it in there so they can give us something to watch instead of them just talking to us.
How hard is it when you have to handle a case that involves the death of a child, and not only a child, a young child, and the circumstances that we're talking about here, beaten to death, malnourished? How tough is it to handle a case like this?
Handsome young man.
And you're exactly right. I think for both sides, for the prosecution and the defense and the judge and the juries, these are certainly the worst cases
His voice
that you
get on my
have to deal with.
nerves.
Looking at the pictures, kind of understand the circumstances that led to that.
Y'all seen that? When he said, you know, when you're looking at the pictures, then they went into a picture. But I keep looking here, but I need to be looking here. How do I fix that, chat? And I know you see me watching. Y'all gotta understand. A B story is what I just said.
They're horrible cases, and they're the kind of cases that stay with you for a long time.
Are they easier, though, to prosecute? Does it affect things if you have two caregivers who are arrested? I always wonder that in cases involving the death of a young child, right? It's different than dealing with the death of an adult. There can be complicating factors. There could be alternative suspects. There could be a self-defense argument. When you're dealing with a defenseless child, though, to me, I wonder, is it easier to prosecute?
He wasn't defenseless. He had these right here. All he had to do was, mommy, and you, nigga, whoever you is, cause I don't know why you married my mom. I don't even know. I don't even call you my daddy, nigga. And I would be like, what's up? What's up? Come here. Come here. Even if you had to beat her up, she was trying to beat you up first. Remember that. This is a 25-minute video. We're not watching all this.
Prosecute and secure
Or are we?
conviction.
Well, I think you're certainly you're going to have cases where you have the most sympathetic victim when you're prosecuting these kind of cases. Sometimes, though, these cases can be difficult because there's so much of an unknown. There's not other witnesses to it. A lot of times, the medical examiner's testimony becomes so important. In this case, I think it looks like the evidence was overwhelming based on the
Hold
injuries.
on. Who the fuck? Y'all seen what I'm seeing? I don't judge.
In this case, I
Don't
think
judge.
it looks like the evidence was overwhelming based on the injuries that the child had. But oftentimes, the amount of injuries or the photographs or specifically what exactly was going on or how long those injuries had been there are difficult things to prove in court. And that is a lot of times why you see prosecutors coming up with what some people may think would be a too lenient of a plea agreement. In this case, it sounds like the pictures were horrendous. I know in the sentencing hearing, the judge made a point of saying to them, even after the agreement was reached, that in his career, these were the worst pictures that he had ever seen, and that he thought that a life sentence was certainly an appropriate sentence, but for the agreement that had been reached, and he was going to honor that agreement.
And we'll talk about what that sentence is, but let's just first talk about what he was charged with. So Hill was charged with
Wait, so
felony
is this
murder
the guy
and
that
first-degree child abuse. Those are very
felony
specific charges.
felony
Josh, that
first
don't
degree
necessarily require
child abuse?
an intent to kill, right? I mean, this is a very specific theory to convict.
Oh, what the?
And
So who is this nigga?
intent to felony murder.
Who the fuck is that nigga? Hey, I'm sorry to tell you, buddy, but your mama she was a freak. She was getting two different niggas on one photo, and they got different names. I'm sorry. R.I.P. Adrian. But boy, your mama was getting up in there.
And child abuse in the first degree, right?
Correct. So the underlying felony or the predicate felony in this case was child abuse. Obviously, in a felony murder case, what that is saying is not that there was premeditation or there was an intent to kill, but that someone died during the course of the predicate felony, and it could be
Yes.
child abuse, or it could be a aggravated burglary, a carjacking, arson. There's all kinds of predicate felonies depending on what state you're in. That if someone dies during the course of that felony, and you can prove
She
that
like
that
she out that
felony
crack.
was intentionally committed,
Him, I
then
don't
you
know.
can be
He
charged
just
and convicted of felony murder, even if it was not your intent.
that
For the person
it can't be
to die.
that good
So
to
is
beat
what he was
a child
originally-
though. It
originally
can't be that
charged with in
good.
the case.
This
Word.
story almost feels like a PSA, right? It is so important to shed a light on this, and I want to thank our sponsor.
So when
Upside,
is he
for
gonna slam?
helping us produce this episode for you? So Upside is great. It is a free app that can use these things, right? Card, but Upside, 25 of child abuse.
Yo, they got law and crime getting promoted. That shit has to stop. What the fuck? And I know you see me watching. No, this shit has to stop. Like, literally. What the fuck? So when is the dude gonna get slammed? Cause I'm ready for the dude to get slammed. Are y'all ready for the dude to get slammed? Cause like, I heard slam and I said, okay, let's get into it. Unless this is bait. Judge Slam's dead in this shot. Slams or talk? Cause I don't see no slam. Alright. If I don't see a nigga get slammed in this video, I'ma do something.
First degree,
I'ma
if
do
a
something.
person knowingly
I'ma
or
do something.
intentionally causes serious physical harm or serious mental harm to a child. And as you said, felony murder is when the child died during the commission of that child abuse. Some people would say felony murder is controversial, right? If someone dies during the course of a robbery or burglary, is it fair to have them on the hook for, felony murder? You might be able to make that argument, not when you're dealing with child abuse. If you are intentionally harming the child and they die, you might not have intended for the child to die, but yeah, you should be on the hook for it, right? I mean, felony murder has gotten its share of criticism or controversy in the past, particularly for defense attorneys, but here,
This game, you're not ready for it.
makes sense.
I think you're right. I think one of the criticisms of felony murder is, especially when you have co-defendants or you have someone who is involved in a crime, but let's just say there was a robbery going on, but the defendant that we're particularly talking about did not know that anyone had a gun, or there was no plan that anyone was going to be injured. It was supposed to just be a simple
Cash
robbery,
money.
but things went wrong and someone ended up dying. well, sometimes that can be a tough pill to swallow, that you're now
That's a
guilty
fire
of
pose.
first degree murder, of felony murder, and looking at life in prison when um, that had never been contemplated by the parties involved, but because of the law of criminal responsibility, you're now, you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound, and so you're going down with everybody else. And so for those reasons, I think there is a lot of criticisms of on felony murder cases. But you're right, in a case like this where you're talking about child abuse, especially the facts of this case, it's as severe and probably as
I'm
horrible
about to
of a
change
beating
this.
as I've ever seen in reviewing cases.
Here's the thing. Before this case could even go to trial, before a jury could even hear it, maybe even a judge could even hear it, this guy, Hill, and his attorney, they reached a deal with the prosecutor's office. So Hill will plead guilty to second-degree murder, right, a lesser charge, and the felony murder and the
Who the
child
fuck
abuse
is that
charges,
guy?
they would be dropped. And the guilty plea was officially entered into
This
the
must be
record on
him before
July
the jury,
21st,
for the
and
crack.
Hill was sentenced on August 7th with the agreed-upon punishment being
Cause we don't
18
change
to
you like
40
that.
years
Now
in
that
prison.
crack.
Now, Josh, first of all, that
He might be
means at a
on that
minimum,
stuff.
he has to serve 18 years before parole is even a consideration, right? And I want to make sure I'm understanding that. And if I am,
I don't even know if I
Is
can
that
say that on YouTube, but
justice, is that fair?
Well, I guess everything's in the eye of the beholder. I don't know exactly how the statutes are, or how the sentencings are calculated in Michigan, but in the jurisdictions I've practiced in, yes, that means that you'd have to serve that minimum period of time before you'd be eligible for parole, and the parole board would ultimately be determining when that person could be released. Which I think is why that gives this 18 to 40. And the jurisdictions I've practiced in, there is a set number, so it's not. It doesn't leave it up to the parole board to make decisions on an 18 to 40, for instance. Like, as an example, someone will be sentenced just to 30 years, and once they have reached a certain percentage of their sentence, then they may be eligible to meet the parole board. But I guess in Michigan, they give this range of 18 to 40 and leaves it to the parole board to decide if that person has been sufficiently rehabilitated, or they believe that he has, I guess, reached the level that he can return to society. So I think Michigan's a little bit different than a lot of other states as far as how they calculate and how they do sentencing. Now, whether this is justice or not, obviously that kind of, again, goes back to which side that you're on. Certainly the defense attorney, it seems, that did a very good job in this case in the negotiations. I don't know what all of the ins and outs and how those negotiations took place, but just for us, looking at it from afar, it looks like he certainly reached a good plea agreement for his client.
Why would prosecutors agree to this? Is that to spare the expense, time, and heartache of a trial?
I think sometimes that's certainly it. I don't know if there were, some of those mitigating factors that sometimes we don't know about, depending on what, Mr. Hill's background had been, or if, there was any kind of mental health issues, or basically what was in his background that would cause the prosecutor maybe to feel like he deserves some kind of a break. Or depending on what the rest of the evidence was. Sometimes there are issues that come up, legal issues, whether the police did something wrong,
Yes, indeed.
whether evidence may get thrown out for
Yes,
some reason,
indeed.
and then sometimes plea agreements get reached so that both sides can kind of, I guess, take those things into consideration and try to reach an agreement so that those don't become issues.
Who
in
the
court
fuck
as
is
far as
that?
evidence would be presented in a trial.
Who is that?
It's hard to know what the negotiations were.
It's
since it wasn't
ugly.
part of it at all, but I would imagine that there had to have been some things like that discussed.
Now, on the outside, we can criticize it, right? On the outside, we can question it. We could say this is injustice. I don't know the ins and outs of all the evidence, like you said. But I have to tell you, there is an aspect of it that is just so egregious. So not only are you dealing with the death of this young boy, right? And his life taken away from him, taken away from his family.
Imagine, hold on.
You have the person who called.
Imagine having to live with you. No, look. You have to live with killing an 8-year-old boy. You gotta be on something. Like, you gotta live with that for the rest of your life. Y'all really killed an 8-year-old boy as a grown ass man. And as a grown ass woman, you're killing an 18-year-old boy. How the fuck did you even have a kid? What the fuck is wrong with you? How can I defend you killed the 18-year-old boy. Out of all things, you could have went out in the street and fought a random crackhead on the street. And be like, hey, here, come here, bitch. Come here. Just cause that's a grown ass man. Killed the 8-year-old boy. Somebody should whoop your ass in jail. And they be having them on the papers, and they be like, hey, you come here, let me see your paper, boy. Let me see your paper. They see you killed the 8-year-old boy. They gonna take your goddamn booty. They gonna take your booty, nigga. And then they gonna take your life. I'm pretty sure them niggas in there, they probably locked up for it. Let's check it, chat. Let's check what it was. Oh, I got an email.
Causes death. But during the
Oh my
sentencing,
god, bro.
Adrian's
I'm
grandmother
gonna get tight,
spoke,
bro.
and they reportedly talked about how both Hill and Moss wanted to keep up their image, driving new cars, wearing expensive clothes, but that Adrian and his siblings wore dirty clothes and shoes that didn't fit right.
Yep. That's in there. That's in there. That's in there. That's in fuck there. Let's end it right there. Y'all some dirty motherfuckers. That's dirty as shit. Why like this nigga fresh out clean that he got the paper in his hand? Y'all niggas capping for the net. I keep telling y'all, stop capping for the net. It's not good for your health. Stop capping for the net. I can't watch this no more. Stop capping for the net. You know them children in some butt dirty clothes. And you gon' stop capping for the net, you know? It's not good for the cap for the net. And I ain't see nobody. Hold on. Let's go to the judge part. Same fucking bitch. Yeah, child, I'm finna fucking crash. Hey, and he didn't get slammed. So, what white meat? What they mean in slam is people liking this shit. People are despicable motherfuckers. Alright. What they mean in slam is he got on his ass. He tore him down and never built him back up. His ass is down. Hold on, chat. Yeah, hold on, bro. Hold on. I know I'm cheating this. A little 23-minute video. None of this is getting cut out. I just want to let you know that. None of this shit is getting cut out. Of course I get a fucking ad. I'm tired of these ads.
They're gonna kill me.
God damn. Hold on.
That shit gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be crazy, man.
What up, Foss?
Okay.
How many hours and how many days it's gonna take for the clear out my mind? But maybe this shit gon' forever be with me. I just gotta handle it. Tell me, understand what's wrong.
Hey, I
I
was
really
in
can't quit
city
it, we slanging
slanging
that
that
iron.
iron.
Keeping my